This is the QB Huddle Podcast, hosted by Jim Smith and Brandon Noohi.
Welcome back into the QB Huddle Podcast. I'm Tim Smith, and I'm joined as always by my podcast partner, San Francisco 49er faithful Brandon Noohi.
Let's get it.
We're here to talk all things quarterback all season. We had another, what I would call a great weekend of football. The 49ers, thank you. You did what I asked you to do.
You're welcome. We let out the tires for you. Can you finish the job?
It's about time somebody handled it up on Philly and didn't blow it in the fourth quarter. The Cowboys put on a huge performance. My Michigan Wolverines won the Big Ten, and we are off and running. Football season's been great for me from a personal standpoint. All my teams are winning except for the Bears, and that's okay, even though we expected the Bears to win. So, Noohi, let's start in Philly, because outside of the Cowboys game, that was the biggest game I wanted to watch. I know it's the biggest game all of our Cowboy fans wanted to watch. And, of course, 49er fans needed that revenge with Brock Purdy getting hurt last year in Philly. What I saw was a team, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I saw a team that dominated from start to finish. A little lackadaisical offensively in the first quarter.
A little.
Holding the opposing team to 2 field goals, holding the Eagles, who really just push from the 5-yard line if they want to, holding them to 2 field goals early in that game, I thought set the tone, because we all knew sooner or later San Fran was going to do something. They were going to score. And wouldn't it be funny if they scored and all of a sudden they had the lead, even though they were really dominated, I guess, in the first quarter, but then they started coming alive. How nervous were you in that first quarter?
I wasn't nervous. I just thought we needed to make adjustments. We struggled in the first quarter. I mean, Brock was 0 for 5. Offense had -6 total yards. But the thing that I think that really stood out in that first quarter is the defense held them to 6 points. Two opportunities in the red zone, and they did not score. And they were one of the most efficient red zone teams.
Probably the most efficient.
I thought that was huge. So it wasn't like, yes, we were playing from behind, but it's a 1-score game, right? Now, if they convert those field goals to touchdowns, now we're down 14-0. Okay. I don't know if Shanahan's going to hit the panic button, but I felt like Shanahan, this was the best game he's ever called. He used to drive me crazy because he got stuck in his ways. That 7-step drop, play action, things were not working. They're too fast for that. So what they do, they get in the shotgun and pistol, and they start dealing with Brock Purdy, just taking what the defense gives you. The good part is we scored 6 straight touchdowns. 6 straight, right? I think ever since that 0-5, start when it comes to passing, Brock Purdy was 17 of 23 after that. 80% completion throughout the entire game. I mean, he was dealing. I mean, I'm tired of the narrative. I know you guys think, hey, this is the Brock Purdy show, but the guy keeps doing it every single time, right? Outside of 3 games. So I'm going to talk about it.
Why not talk about him? I mean, we talk about guys like Lamar, whose numbers are pretty pedestrian from a quarterback standpoint. We understand what his presence brings to the run game, but his numbers have been pedestrian. Jalen Hurts, not great quarterback stats. I think you told me he's got 19 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
Turns the ball over quite a bit. He was buying a lot of time, too.
He was definitely outplayed, was Jalen, by Brock Purdy. If you just watch the game from a quarterback standpoint, take away, Jalen's outstanding running ability, right? Because he's not a running back. So take that away. Yeah. When you talk about just pure quarterback, who was, throwing those big time digs on third down, completing those big third down plays when you needed them, to me, that was Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, he looked like he was on a mission. For the first time, I saw some personality from Brock Purdy. We've seen the arm thing a couple times, but he looked like this game was personal to him. Like he felt like getting hurt on that field. It felt like to me like this was personal for him.
And I think he plays with a chip on his shoulder every game. I mean, if he was a top 5 pick like Richard Sherman says, everybody would be talking about him as elite. But I think right now, slow the elite conversation down. Just let him stay consistent and just continue to stay on track. He's got a great amount of weapons that he can deploy to, but at the end of the day, no turnovers is what we're focused on. Converting third downs, just staying in your lane, doing your job. If you do that, you have an opportunity to be an MVP candidate. I mean, right now he's in the favorite as far as MVP candidates go. Dak's right behind him. But, man, if we just stay the course, I feel like looking at this Niner team, this was probably the most impressive win. I would say, yes, the Cowboys are, but our scheme just matches up against you guys so well.
That was in San Francisco, so I give.
But it happens in Dallas. It happens. I'm just saying, schematically, man, our scheme kills you guys because we take your best player out the game, and when we do that, it's really hard, to come back around. But I think right now
changed since we played you last.
Who?
Our best player was number 11. Right now, our best player is number 4, which would make a different game if we played you guys now. I think
Dak completely struggles against us, dude. We're his kryptonite.
Struggled against everybody.
We're his kryptonite, man. If you go back and look at it, I mean, he had his worst game.
I understand what you're saying.
I think the 40.
This is not the same Dak that played you guys earlier in the year.
We'll see.
I don't think.
I mean, time will tell. He's doing really well to where he convinced you enough to buy a jersey.
Yep, new Dak jersey, go back. Love it.
So now I feel like the 49ers control their destiny. I mean, the only team that can beat them is them. I mean, it's true. I mean, look at it. We got the Ravens coming up, but we still got to handle business, man. This is a 1-week league. You know how it goes. It's ups and downs, and just stay the course. Period.
Careful. You're not playing the Ravens just yet.
We're playing Seattle, and then we play the Ravens.
Yeah. And that's going to be the game. That's the test.
We still got a tough stretch. Seattle's going to play us tough.
It's not really a test, I don't think, going to Baltimore.
I think it is.
Are you going to fall into that?
They come to us.
But are you going to fall into that bucket that every other NFC team plays, that Lamar doesn't lose to NFC? He's like 17-1 against NFC.
I think we match up very well against Lamar.
Okay.
I really think we do, because after playing Jalen, yes, I know Lamar's a total different breed, but I don't feel like he's doing enough to make me convinced that he can play from behind. If we get up by 2 scores or 3 scores, we suffocate teams.
He's not, but he can. We've talked about this.
I haven't seen it. I've seen one on one occasion in the divisional round versus the Titans. He came back from 10.
I mean, okay. Behind,
give me another one. Maybe Bernard knows.
But as far as Lamar not doing a lot, he's not. But we know that he has that potential to kind of tap into it. And that's what we've been told, is that there's a switch. And when he flips that switch, he can just become super Lamar. And that's
we'll see, man.
He might have to do that against San Francisco. So maybe it's a bigger thing.
He's going to have to.
Baltimore than it is for the 49ers. That's going to be a great game in 2 weeks. I can't wait.
That's Christmas, right? Oh,
is that
it's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be tough, man. That's our biggest test, but I'm not going to look away from Seattle. Seattle's coming off of 2 losses. They're pissed off. We're playing 2 out of 3 weeks, right? They're coming to our home. They can really spoil this thing. So, again, just stay consistent. Just stay consistent. That's it.
Well, I'm glad that the 49ers this week at least got a win, and now we can move on. This is the first time on a Tuesday that we've done this show. Obviously, people will be watching this on Wednesday or Thursday, but we haven't been able to talk about the Monday night game throughout the whole season. And last night, we probably had the best Monday night game of the year. I didn't watch a lot of it. I turned it on in the second half. Gretchen and I watched a Christmas movie with Eddie Murphy last night, which I highly recommend. It's called Candy Cane Lane on Amazon Prime.
That's the new one, huh?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I need to check it out.
Eddie Murphy's amazing in the movie. So
he's one of the GOATs for sure.
But third quarter, I turned that game on, and to my surprise, it was a 1-score game. Trevor Lawrence had the lead at the time since Cincinnati and Jake Browning were coming back. But, man, you kind of brought this up this morning. Let's talk about Jake Browning, man. He was amazing last night.
Yeah, was he not? The former Washington quarterback. I mean, he was pretty good in college. I think he's been around the league a little bit, and he took advantage of his opportunity. He was dealing 86% completion. He's got a great amount of weapons around him.
Yep.
I'm not saying he looked like Joe Burrow, but
no,
it's a nice replacement to have, right? Yeah. And if he continues to do that, they're still in a fight.
Sean Twix Edwards, our good friend whose son plays quarterback in college out there in Arkansas, made a post last night saying that Jake Browning looked better than Coley McCulkin or Joe Burrow, and I was like, whoa.
Oh man!
I wanted to
stop.
To comment, delete this immediately.
I mean, he was dealing. He was dealing though.
32
he was dealing.
5 incompletions.
That's pretty damn good.
354, 1 touchdown. How about Trevor Lawrence, who I'm not a big fan of? He only had 7 incompletions before the injury. 22 of 29, 258, 2 touchdowns. I would also say, based on how things were going, I would guess if Trevor doesn't go down in that game, the Jaguars probably win the game, right?
Yeah, they win.
Now the question is, I'll pose this to you. Trevor Lawrence is out, let's say, the rest of December, not back until playoffs with that ankle sprain. What happens to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and do they get in now? Are they going to be able to get into the playoffs? They sit at 8-4, and they don't have their starting quarterback for the rest of the season.
I'm not sure, man. That's an uphill battle, especially with Indianapolis catching fire. They had a great win versus the Titans. And also Houston had a great win versus a hot team in Denver. So they're in your division, and I think they're going to sneak back pretty quick. That's just my opinion. I think right now you got C.J. Stroud that is playing very well, even though he lost Tank Dell.
He did.
You got a serviceable quarterback in C.J. Beathard. I mean, he was a former Niner backup. He played decent for us, but I just don't see you guys overcoming Trevor Lawrence in his skill set, right?
I mean, look at these games they have to play next. The Jaguars have to play the Browns. That's obviously a winnable game, but the Browns defense is still the Browns defense. Then you have to play the Ravens. I don't think that's a winnable game at this point. You have to play the Buccaneers. That's a winnable game, but that's in Tampa, and Jacksonville hasn't played great away from home. The one game for sure they're going to win is the Carolina Panther game on December 31st, right?
They might. I mean, C.J. Beathard's an experienced backup.
Then they have the Titans.
They're going to lose that.
Not terrible, but without the quarterback, which everything seems to go through him and ETN, right? Everything goes through Trevor Lawrence and ETN. ETN's about to be looking at a stacked box week in and week out. It's
I'm not looking forward to that for my fantasy, even though he did pretty good. But I think CJ can deal a little bit. He's got a good skill set. He can move outside the pocket. He's not just a stand up or just stand in the pocket quarterback. He can make plays when needed.
His first play was a fumble last night.
I get it, but he hasn't played in 3 years?
Oh, it's probably been a minute.
Right, it's been a long time. Jacksonville sits, currently number 1 in their division. They're 4-1 in the division. Right, Titans are 0-3, so there's no hope for that.
No, you're looking Colts and Texans if they're going to make.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say right now. They're just sitting just outside. Indy is actually 7th right now.
Yeah, and
so and Denver and Houston and Denver is right behind them, along with Cincinnati and Buffalo. So it's going to be tight.
Those Indianapolis Colts under Gardner and Minshew are playing very, very well.
Yeah, he's definitely on my On Fire segment. He had a very clutch moment, which I don't know if we're doing the Brady moment this week, but that was a Brady moment he had.
All right,
for sure.
Let's talk about it. Well, you talked about On Fire. If you want to start, go ahead, because you kind of into it already.
Oh, absolutely.
Who is your On Fire quarterback this week?
It's Purdy. Purdy did it under
I thought you were going to go with Gardner Minshew.
It's no. What Brock Purdy just did was put the league on notice, and he played extremely well. Had the highest passer rating again. He's got actually 4 of the perfect passer ratings against really good teams. Putting up 40 points versus the top 2 NFC teams. He's out there dealing right now. Another 300+ yard game, 4 TDs. He looked unstoppable. He looked very dialed in. Brock Purdy is on a mission, it looks like, and it could be one of the greatest stories we have ever seen in the NFL. From Mr. Irrelevant to possible MVP, that is unheard of, right? To a potential Super Bowl appearance.
I mean,
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it seems like the narrative is going there.
He wasn't.
No, Tom Brady wasn't. He wasn't Mr. Irrelevant, right? Tom Brady did do that, but his first year was not like Brock Purdy's. No,
fair enough.
Hell no.
Hey, how about this though?
He did good,
even though he got hurt last year. So we'll say last year was his first year, but he got hurt. Joe Burrow got hurt in his first year. Joe Burrow's second year, he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl.
Joe Burrow's the number 1 pick.
Up for Brock Purdy, he's going to have to get through Dallas and through.
It could, man. It could, and I think for Brock, all he has to do is just stay the course. Just stay consistent. Don't get too cute. Learn from your mistakes. Continue to move forward. You have the weapons. You have the coach that really believes in you, and it looks like now Kyle Shanahan is calling some of his best games with Brock. It kind of looks very similar to the Matt Ryan MVP year, where they're really stretching the field, doing what they. Now, granted, I feel Matt Ryan's probably a better thrower than Brock Purdy at this moment.
I don't know. Brock,
Brock is dealing, man. I mean, we throw this elite, word around a lot, and I don't want to throw this elite word at him, but I think what he's doing, he's on pace to become that. He's just got to stay the course, man. He's a good quarterback. Just keep doing your thing.
Just keep doing it.
Just keep doing your thing.
This is a great show. This is the first time in QB Huddle history that you and I have been able to call out our own two quarterbacks at the same time on the same show on the On Fire segment.
Yeah,
my quarterback that was on fire was none other than Mr. Dakota Rain Prescott, which I've never called him by that name.
All right.
Listen, he is finally, after it's been 8 seasons, I can finally say he's my quarterback on my football team.
Uh-oh.
The reason I can finally say that is because Mike McCarthy has completely changed the way Dak Prescott plays football. He finally plays quarterback the way you're supposed to play quarterback. He's using his legs when he needs to, when it's important for him to do so. He's not making the silly mistakes. He's not throwing into coverage. He's making checks at the line of scrimmage, which I am in love with. That, to me, is the number one thing to being a good quarterback, is be able to set your protections and understand where you're vulnerable, understand where the hot route is. And he couldn't do that for years. I don't care what anybody on here tries to argue with me. You can argue until the cows come home. It wasn't happening. It is now. It is now under Mike McCarthy. And we've talked about this on the Couch Coach a little bit, is that Mike McCarthy's the one that got Aaron Rodgers where he was. He developed Aaron Rodgers. Brett Favre didn't do it. Brett Favre wanted nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. That was Mike McCarthy. He had a winning playoff record under Mike McCarthy. He went to the Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy. He had a losing playoff record without Mike McCarthy. And so that's why I thought Mike was a good guy to get the job. Now, with a different offensive coordinator and just kind of being a head coach, I wasn't a fan. I thought our clock management was terrible. I never thought we were really ready to play as a unit, just looking back at those years under Kellen Moore. But now he's dialed in. And they say, by the way, that he spends more time at the facility than anyone, and that oftentimes when him and Dak are there together, they're joined at the hip.
I love it.
Love
to hear that. You love to hear that. I mean,
love that.
Dak's a great leader. We've always acknowledged that. I think, like, just to test to what you're doing, he's definitely making adjustments at the line of scrimmage. He's playing more at a clutch level than I've seen him play in the past, and it's good to see for you guys because he's a good quarterback. A lot of people throw him in the dirt because he doesn't beat 500 teams. Now he's got a very important game, probably the most important game of his career. Up to this point is here.
I'm going to be in the building, 50-yard line. Can't wait. Right behind the Cowboys bench.
Yeah.
Dak was 29 of 41, 299, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Cooked.
7 carries for 23 yards, 57% on third down. I don't like the 41 attempts. I don't like that we have still not really established a good run game. I feel like that's going to hurt us when we get into the playoffs. But Seattle didn't make it easy for us. Seattle.
No, they didn't. Geno was on fire until that pick.
They made Dak play clutch the whole game because it was back and forth, right? Dak had to answer every single time, and he hasn't been able to do that in the past. And so I loved what I saw from him the entire game. Geno Smith played great, 64% on third down, 23.
He did really good. He had the highest rating in fantasy this week.
3 TDs. The pick was the difference. Woo! I loved what Dak was doing, and I am so excited to see what happens this weekend. When we play Philly. Another quarterback for me, this hurts. This hurts. You know this is going to hurt when I say it because I expected this team to suck for 20 years. I expected them to not have a quarterback for 20 years because that's what they've earned themselves. But Jordan Love.
He is balling.
This dude has come alive. The first couple of weeks were ugly. But, I mean, this weekend he was 25 of 36, 267, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Huge win, I mean, when you beat the Chiefs at home. That's massive. Obviously, this Chiefs defense the last 3 weeks has been all the talk in Kansas City. Jordan Love took them apart. He picked them apart the entire night. And I don't like seeing it. but I have to talk about it because it happened. And wow, what'd you think about Jordan Love?
Absolutely, man. I had Jordan Love as well. He looks like a complete different guy in the last 4 games. He's got 10 touchdowns with only 2 picks. He's thrown for 300 plus yards a few times. He is looking very much like a young A-Rod. He has that little 3-quarter delivery. He does. And you can tell he's learned a lot from him. His movement is good. He's a bigger quarterback than Aaron Rodgers, but he's got young receivers. I think they're the youngest team in the league, averaging at 25 years old. So that team's going to be around for a while. And if they get their other running back, Aaron Jones, I feel like it could be an opportunity for them to squeeze in the playoffs. They just got to stay the course.
It's the
they've had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the past 30 years. That's crazy.
Now Jordan Love is like, hey, look, guys.
How lucky are they?
I can do everything Aaron Rodgers used to do.
Yeah. So, 49ers been trying to find a franchise quarterback since Steve Young.
The Bears have been trying to find a franchise quarterback since the inception of the franchise.
So, and I think we got him.
Well, congratulations. We might have him too if the Bears just get their act together. But yeah, it was terrible, but awesome at the same time. I feel like the Chiefs are in a lot of trouble.
They're in trouble.
I hate that for them.
They're in trouble. I don't. I love it.
You love it?
I love it. I love it. They embarrassed us in the Super Bowl, man. I hate it. Okay, another guy I have is Gardner Minshew. 300+ yard game, 2 TDs, no turnovers. Super clutch moment in overtime to seal the game. Yeah. I mean, he's playing at he's playing at a pretty high level. When he doesn't turn the ball over, he's a bit of a gunslinger, which you like, but he's another one of these guys that take advantage of your opportunity. I think we'll talk about it a little bit in the segment of the Couch Coach, where you're going to have 2 solid quarterbacks to get through the season.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my mind. Are they going to – is he playing himself? Is he auditioning to start somewhere else next year because Anthony Richardson would be back? But then if I'm the Colts, I keep him. The way Anthony Richardson plays, I don't let Gardner go because there's no guarantee that Anthony's going to last the season. He got hurt 3 times in 3 games this year.
Now, Anthony looks like he's made of glass but built like Tarzan.
Right.
I mean, and I'm just honest. I mean, I love his skill set, but guys got to learn to stay healthy.
To protect himself. That's
absolutely. Who do you have for your next one? I mean, I have a list. Nice little list. I have a nice little list, man. I had 6 on the board.
So why don't you continue, and I'll see if I agree. Wait till we get to garbage juice. So I got 3 of those guys.
I got 4 of them boys. I got 4 of them. So Tua played amazing. Another 40+ game, 2 TDs, no turnovers. And then I got Matthew Stafford. He's on a roll right now. Matthew Stafford's got 7 touchdowns, no picks in the last 2 games. That's a team I would be a little concerned about, if I'm in the NFC, because they can potentially make a run because they've already swept Seattle in their division. So would they fall at 2 with us beating them this week? Excuse me.
Wouldn't you guess they're about to be 6 and 7 though? They have to play the Ravens this weekend.
Yeah, it might be a bad. Yeah, it may be a bad one. Stafford gonna at least give you 2.
Right, and Baltimore's coming off a bye week, so
man,
they're gonna feel good. I don't like it. Let's go back to
Miami. And Puka Nacua is hurt too. Ooh.
Well, Puka came back in.
Okay.
But let's go back to that Miami game. The Bills look to be done. It looks like we're not going to have the Bills in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
The Miami Dolphins, if they're able to get home field advantage, in my opinion, are unbeatable in Miami.
That's not true.
Where are you at with that?
The Ravens, Lamar has had some of his best games in that stadium.
I'm talking about this year, right now, with the way Tyreek Hill is playing. You think that the Baltimore Ravens can go in and beat the Dolphins?
Yes.
To do that, the Ravens may have to keep up, which they haven't had to keep up with anybody all year. That's
the thing I'm concerned about, right? That's what I'm really concerned about when it comes to that Ravens team, and we'll really find out who they really are come Christmas.
I don't know if
they can play from behind.
I don't know that there's an AFC team that can beat Miami in Miami.
If you keep it close within 10 points, I mean – sometimes the Dolphins will play down to other people's level. I'm not saying they're going to play down to Baltimore, but they could play right in their favor. Baltimore is extremely physical.
Man.
And Miami's defense isn't the best, especially when it comes to the run. So,
but if you can score 40 points a game, you're going to win most of those games.
It's hard to beat. Yeah, you're going to win most of those games.
You're going to win most of those games. I got a feeling we're going to see the Miami Dolphins in the Super Bowl because of everyone else that's faltering in the AFC and all the quarterbacks that are hurt. I think this is the perfect chance for the Miami Dolphins. Do you not think that that's possible? I mean, I know it sounds a little crazy.
That's an ass whooping waiting to happen.
But they're right now at 9-3.
I want to see them, please. I want to see them.
I don't think anybody from the NFC
either three.
They should have beat the Eagles in Philly.
Stop.
They should have beat the Eagles.
Stop. We would beat. All right.
Take it easy. Take it easy. The last time the Dolphins played the 49ers in the Super Bowl was 1984. It was Dan Marino's rookie year. It was Montana, and they beat the hell out of the Dolphins.
Mopped. Last time we played was Brock Purdy's first game. Mopped.
I saw the game. You didn't. You weren't alive yet.
No. I'm talking about last year when we played the Dolphins when they had Tyreek Hill and those boys.
I'm not worried about last year. This is a different year. Year.
It's the same damn team. Mopped.
Okay. I'm glad you have confidence. I'm
very confident. I'm confident in that one. I really just don't want to see the Ravens.
You don't want to see that. I'm not scared.
Hell no. We'll see.
Offense isn't very scary.
That's the only team I really don't, because it's like, man, they're going to suffocate us. They'll slow the game down.
They will.
If we get a lot of 3-and-outs and we can't, man, I don't know. But I will tell you this: when the offense is all together with the 49ers, you know what their record is? 21-0.
Uh-oh. Well,
I'm just saying, not to know this year when we're all together.
I think
one happy family.
I think Debo's the MVP of the league right now.
He doesn't have the numbers to be the MVP of the league.
Watch the game. Forget the numbers. Watch the game.
I understand that, but no. If we're going to name an MVP on that 49er team, it's Trent Williams.
They were 0-3 without Debo, and Debo is the engine of that offense.
Do you realize that they didn't have Trent Williams either?
I understand that, but just give Debo the ball. That's all you have to do. I'm convinced that he's a cheat code.
He is a cheat code. He is a cheat code.
So let's move on, because we talk about the good. We always got to talk about the bad, and I absolutely love to talk about the bad. Let's talk about the garbage juice, and I'm going to start this one. I have 3 in here that I'm going to enjoy talking about, but let's talk about this one. Sam Howell of the Washington Commanders. He's really taken up residence in the garbage juice in 2023. He was 12 of 23 for 127 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and a loss, 45-15 to Miami. Miami is scoring that much, my man. You got to do something, Sam Howell. You got to do something, bro. And you did absolutely nothing. You laid a complete egg. You laid up like a limp fish just to stay with the Miami Dolphin.
Ouch.
Wow. Well, I mean, what do you say to Sam Howell after that type of performance, Brandon?
Dead fish walking.
Like, what? I don't even know how you get better from that. Eric Bieniemy has a tall order on his hands to get Sam Howell out of the garbage juice. Super talented. We know that. He can make crazy off-platform throws, but you can't go 12-23 for just over 100 yards in an entire football game. That's terrible. Go ahead. You go. I've got a list, so I'm going to let you get one out.
I've been waiting to do this one. For a long time because he broke my heart in the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes.
Oh, you're going to put Patrick Mahomes in there?
I'm putting Patty May in there. I'm putting him in there. You know why?
The garbage. You know why? The rent has just gone up because Patrick Mahomes is there.
He threw another pick. He got outdueled by Jordan Love. Yeah, granted it's Lambeau, but that's a team that was under 500, and you lost to him. You can't do that. No. You can't do that. Now you just played yourself out of a number 1 seed potentially. So the Arrowhead Invitational at the AFC Championship will not be held there. Now you will have to go on the road for the first time ever in your career in the playoffs.
Playoff game.
I got to put him in there because it's been a pedestrian year, but at the same time, I feel like Pat is still that dude. I mean, hey, sometimes you're in the garbage juice, sometimes you're not, but you're more on fire than you are in the garbage juice. But I got to put you in there, brother. I feel like right now, you and your receivers have to have a come to Jesus meeting because Travis Kelce is not the same Travis Kelce ever since he's buckled that knee. Yeah. You're looking more like Jason Witten on option routes. Right. So I think right now, it's going to be on you and those young cats. You got to galvanize them, get them going. And I know you're the leader. I know you're a great leader. So I know you'll figure it out. So, but for right now, your ass is in the garbage bucket.
Woo. Well, he's going to get joined by a rookie. And this rookie is also taking up residence in the garbage juice. Matter of fact, from what I understand, more than half of the coaching staff wanted to bench said rookie back at like week 5. But Frank Reich, who is now fired, would not allow for that to happen. Bryce Young, my friend, all 5'7" or however tall you are, you're in the garbage juice. 15 for 31, 178 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, losing to Tampa Bay 20% on third down. Now, it's not losing to Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay is underperforming in my mind. They're a better team than what they're doing. Obviously, Baker's having a decent year. Bryce Young, I don't even know where to start. You completed half of your passes in the game. You can't even get the 200-yard mark, which is really a basic barometer.
Bet the under on 200 every time, and
right. No
prize picks, Lord Jesus,
throwing picks like crazy, and your coaching staff wants to bench you, and now you have to look at a new head coach coming in next year. Let's ask this: what head coach wants that job with Bryce Young as a starting coach?
A great offensive mind that can cater to his skill set. Because one thing about Bryce, I don't feel like he's doing bad, but I feel like he's not doing good. I mean, it's just one of those instances. If you go back and just kind of look at his games, he's not necessarily turning the ball over at a high rate. I mean, he's got 9 TDs and 9 picks, right? There's some quarterbacks that's got more picks than you, right? But your QBR is 28th in the league, man. You're underperforming. You have no star power at receiver, right? Your line is not very good. You got Adam Thielen, he's still good, but he's on his way out pretty soon, right? I mean, he's at the back end of his career. I think you get a young offensive mind that could really help him grow, but also the owner has to trust in the coach. You know, you've had a lot of turnover since he's taken over of that ownership, and he's just high risk, high reward. He just keeps dealing, and it's like you got to find something that sticks. I wouldn't say Bryce Young's a bust by any stretch. I think he just needs a great offensive mind he's got the ability, man. I mean, he's not sorry.
You can't. He's smart, and he's got a decent release, very quick. But
yeah, his feet are slow.
He can't make up for his deficiencies with athletic ability because he's not super athletic. He's
athletic enough.
He doesn't have a great arm. I mean, I just feel like he's too limited. I said that coming out of the draft. I would not.
Would CJ Stroud do well with this team?
Looking at the way CJ's playing, he'd do well with anyone.
CJ has some freaking weapons, dog.
Just remember,
they built that team up very nice, and I'll talk about it in the couch coach.
No one expected this from the Texans, though.
No.
Did anybody expect this? I mean, this is.
I expected them to compete, though, for sure. I didn't think CJ was going to be that good.
Bryce Young might be the most disappointing rookie in recent memory at the quarterback spot. Because a lot of these quarterbacks are coming in and playing very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, he was number 1. So, which brings me to my next guy, a guy who is on borderline potential Hall of Famer. He really crapped the bed with a high of 3 INTs, only 186 yards passing. Russell Wilson.
Oh, is he
can't do that, brother?
Garbage juice.
Oh, he's in there. He's in there. Oh, brother, it did not look good.
Hey,
granted, it was a close game, but you still throw 3 picks, and you lose to a team that's trying to fight. You know, basically, I would feel like your team is more of a veteran team than them. Those are a bunch of rookies. They're naive to the moment. They're going to go out there and play as hard as they can. And I told you guys this on the couch coach. You guys were like, "Oh, Denver." I was like, "You sure? You sure?" Right? I did pick them. That's why I'm probably leading in couch coach right now. Just saying. By stretch.
Did I pick Denver to beat the Texans
last week? Yes, you sure did.
I did because I really felt like Russell Wilson and Sean Payton and those guys saw the playoffs in front of them and would do what they needed to do. But the Texans are a good football team, right?
They're a good football team, man, and they can shred you. They can shred you. I need to see CJ complete a little bit more passes. He's got kind of these big pass plays, and then he'll kind of go off and trail down. I need to get you in the 70% completion range. If you're as good as we think you are, he's about a low 60. He completed, I think it was like, I don't think he completed that much this past week. But those are things that I look at. The more efficient you become, the more dangerous you are. The more you can sustain drives. Right? And with CJ, I mean, I'm looking right now. I mean, he was 16 to 27. I mean, it's not bad,
terrible,
but
it's not great.
It would look to see if you were 20 to 27. I don't think I've seen you have a 70% day yet. I don't think I have.
He's not as efficient as what we would like, but he's got the splash play down.
I mean, he's actually got two. He's got a few, 72, 73, 71. But then he completed 59% of his passes.
Right.
And then he did it against Cincy, 59%. So he's trailing up. Like, it'll get better. But to see what this rookie has done, 3,500 yards, leads the league. He's 12th in QBR, 20 TDs to 5 picks. That is extremely efficient. We just got to get those numbers up when it comes to completion because, I mean, yeah, he's only done it 3 times this year, 70%, and it's 71, 73, right?
He's still outperforming as a rookie.
Yeah, so, imagine, he's going to get so much better.
I don't know if there's a better rookie than him.
I don't think I've ever seen a better rookie quarterback than him.
Yeah, he's been outstanding.
I mean, besides Dak Prescott's first year, that was pretty damn good.
Oh, boy. All right.
Look. Oh, boy.
We're not going back to that. I'm going to stay. I went Sam Howell, Bryce Young, Alabama. I'm going to stay with Alabama, and you're probably going to cringe at this a little bit. But you know what? This quarterback wasn't very efficient. He didn't make big throws when he had the opportunity to make big throws to keep his team in the game. And I'm talking about Jalen Hurts. He was 26.
You've been waiting to do that, haven't you?
26 of 45. That's not great. 298. That's good. A lot of yards. But as our friend Bernard would say, a lot of empty yards, a lot of empty calories. There was only one TD in there. You lose at home to the 49ers. The game really wasn't close in that second half.
No touchdown pass, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean.
One, yeah, he had one. He had one.
And he had one touchdown run, I think, as well. He had the quarterback sneak for a run.
He didn't turn it over, though, Tim. He didn't turn it over.
Listen. This is not – he's not taking up residence in the garbage juice.
Okay.
He doesn't live there, but he's visiting. He's definitely visiting. He's visiting his buddy Bryce Young. He's bringing him a care package, right? He's trying to help him get up out of the garbage juice. But, Jalen, my friend, you can't lay an egg like that against San Francisco in a game where, they called you out. The 49ers called out your entire team. They said you're all trash, and they proved it. So –
they did prove it. That was pretty dirty. That was so disrespectful.
I mean, it was great. Who else you got? You got anybody else taking up residence this week?
Man, I don't have anybody, man. The garbage juice, the lid is closed on there.
The lid is closed. So, unfortunately, for me, the quarterback that surprised me, right? Who surprised you this weekend? You've already talked about him in the On Fire segment. That was Gardner Minshew, 26, 42, 312. 2 TDs, no picks, winning over Tennessee. Beating Tennessee's not – I mean, we know Tennessee's not that great of a football team, but Gardner Minshew's not supposed to win any games. The Colts aren't supposed to win any games, and he's out there winning games. He surprised me with his play because he was even better than what he has been. But you said he had a big moment in the overtime that a lot of us don't know about. I mean, I know about it, but for those that don't know about it, explain what happened there in overtime and why Gardner – really got into your On Fire segment this week.
He made it. He made a very clutch throw to Michael Pittman in the last minutes, which put them into actual red zone situation. I think it was like a 40 or 50-yard throw. It was a dot. And he did it again to Michael Pittman. I mean, it was another dot like 2 plays later. And I just think he's just got grit, man. He's just got grit. He's one of those guys you want on your team.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want him as your starter? Probably not, right? Throughout the entire season. But I think what Gardner Minshew is doing is he is actually displaying a lot of confidence in a lot of teams to get him. But I think, like you were attesting to, I think Indy has found a good mentor for Anthony Richardson, but also a good insurance policy. And you and I expressed on this, and we'll dive a little more in the couch coach. You need an insurance policy when it comes to playing, when it comes to your starting quarterback. You just don't know what happens.
Especially the ones that run
catastrophic injuries to a lot of really good players. But I think Gardner Minshew is really stepping up. Who really surprised me is just, I think, 3 quarterbacks that I had. Well, another quarterback, Jake Browning, was really solid. That was a very good, efficient game, 86% completion. He put his team into field goal range to get get the win, put up 30-plus points. I mean, if you throw on the tape and you take away, strip the names and the numbers of the jersey, it looked very Joe Burrow-ish to a degree.
It did.
It looked very Joe Burrow-ish, right? Moving outside the pocket, making nice throws, making nice plays, off-platform throws, sitting in the pocket, dicing. It looked really good.
How about Joe Burrow on the sidelines all night in a sling with the iPad, really being Browning's quarterback coach the whole evening?
I love it.
I love seeing that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. That just shows he's a good team player. It's not about just him, right? It's about just building that up, because while we may think they're out of the playoff run, they're not. And if you got a guy who's playing efficient like that with those playmakers around,
yeah,
they might squeeze in there and the Browns fall out. It could happen, right? Because I think the Pittsburgh loss was disastrous. Mitch Trubisky showed us why he's Trubisky, right? Yeah. So the Steelers may not make the playoffs either. I got Jordan Love. I just think what he did going against Pat Mahomes, I thought he did a tremendous job. I thought he was very efficient. He was very good on third down. I got another guy. I'm give his flowers. Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott impressed me.
On fire.
He was dealing. He was checking things at the line of scrimmage, making adjustments as far as protections go. He didn't force the issue, and he played from behind, and he got a win. And that was extremely impressive. I think that gave him more confidence. His team's got more confidence. McCarthy called a great game. He didn't get too cute. And also Brock Purdy. I mean, walking into that territory, I didn't know what to expect. I thought Brock was going to deal. But I did say on the couch, Coach, I said, man, if you can't get to him, he's going to kill you. And what happened? They didn't get to him, and he killed him. Yeah. But I just think going into hostile territory, knowing this is where your traumatic experience happened, it took you out of the game. You know, you had to rehab, go through surgery. So maybe psychologically that was playing through his mind. But I just think he's a very, very cerebral quarterback. I mean, and it's just exciting to see, especially these three quarterbacks moving into the future. If this is what we're going to get, the NFL quarterback situation is in good hands in the NFC, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, throughout. I mean, we need some of these guys to get.
Well, these all three quarterbacks I named are actually in the NFC. Yeah.
I'm just kind of piling on to what you said. Is that I feel like we have good quarterbacks throughout.
We do. We're getting better.
We thought
things
they
are getting better.
In the AFC, but it looks like we have good quarterbacks in both conferences now. So
absolutely.
So here we are, just about halftime. Brandon, why don't you talk about the Couch Coach and where people find us, because we're putting out content every single week.
Every single week, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe to both platforms. Couch Coach is going to give you more of an in-depth on NFL week to week. We're going to talk about trending topics, who's rising, who's falling with these teams. As you know, this season has been a roller coaster of events. Quarterbacks getting hurt, teams not playing up to their level, teams you're shocked that they used to be good, now they're not so good. We've predicted a lot of these things. So stay tuned to us. We have Mark Clayton on the show, former Oklahoma Sooner great and Baltimore Raven. He's going to give a lot of great insight, especially with the Ravens coming off that bye week. I think this is a perfect time for MC to come in and really deliver some nuggets for us. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to drop on Friday. Everybody lock in. I think we get, caught up in, trying to sell this thing as much as we can. But if you're a football fan and you love, different types of content outside of just your main topics on the ESPN or your volume, definitely stay tuned to us, man, because we're dropping a lot of nuggets. And this NFL season has been extremely accurate to our predictions.
Yeah, make sure comment with us. We're going to have a Q&A section as part of the Couch Coach coming up soon. We'll do it here too. If you guys just comment, ask questions, comment on our shorts when we put them out. If you don't agree with us, let's have that conversation. If you want to come on the show, debate us, come on. We'll welcome you out.
Absolutely. Get your facts straight. You better get your facts straight.
Let's go to this new segment that we're going to do for this week called The Best to Never Do It. And Brandon, this is going to be about your yours and mine, top 5 quarterbacks to never win the Super Bowl. Best to never do it. I'll allow you to go first, sir. Who's your
You'll
top
allow
5?
me to go first, man. I got top 5, but I sprinkled in like 3, 5A, 5B, 5C. Right. So
you have like 8.
I really do, because I really feel like those 3 quarterbacks I'm going to name are very much in that realm. And it's like, okay, you just choose one. Right.
Okay.
Number 1, this is pretty obvious. Dan Marino. Yep. One of the greatest throwers of the football. I'll go back and watch his film sometimes, and it still gets me riled up because he's just really good with dealing with the ball. He deals at a high level. When he did retire, he was number 1 in literally everything. So he's one of the first quarterbacks that could really dice it up. Number 2, I got Michael Vick. I think that was one of the most exciting quarterbacks, as you recall, back in his younger days when he was with Atlanta. He went up to Lambeau and beat Brett Favre in Lambeau, and it was like 20-something degrees, and he had a lot of iconic highlights. He was just a human highlight reel, man. He was one of the first that, outside of Randall Cunningham, to really just expose teams with his natural ability to throw the ball and his athleticism. Number 3, I got Warren Moon. One of the greatest passers of all time. He won in the CFL, and then he went to the NFL. Houston Oilers had a great history. They had a really great run and shoot that they used to run. Unfortunately, they fell apart to one of the greatest comebacks in history.
They sure did.
From Frank Wright. So that hurt. And then number 4, I got Jim Kelly. I think Jim Kelly had a good run. He never, with the K gun, they were dealing. They went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost. It's unfortunate. And then number 5, man, you may be surprised on this, but I do have Tony Romo.
Okay.
I have Tony Romo because he's got one of the best stories in NFL history. He wasn't supposed to be crap until he was on America's team. He had a lot of good teams that year. During his career, but he just couldn't get over the hump. But he enamored you with playmaking ability and his ability to predict things before they happen. And he was just a real good point guard with the football. Also got him in a tie with Dan Fouts. I didn't get to watch Dan Fouts, but Dan Fouts put up numbers.
Yeah, Dan Fouts was my dad's favorite.
Numbers, right? It just happened that San Francisco and the Redskins were literally, dominant during those years.
And then he lost in his only AFC title game. He lost to the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati the year that Cincinnati won.
And Cincy was good too. Yep.
Now, what happened in that game, and the rules have changed now, but there was in the tunnels, they would have these doors that would open, right? And that would bring wind gusts. Whenever Cincinnati had the ball, and it was freezing cold. You can go back and YouTube this game in 1981. But when Cincinnati had the ball, the doors would come closed. When San Diego had the ball, Cincinnati would open the doors. It would be the equivalent of Dallas, right? If they opened the roof, like let's say it was raining outside, and they opened the roof when the offense had the ball from the other team.
So childish,
right? But now the rule is, if you open a door, open a tunnel, anything like that, has to stay open the entire game.
Sure.
You can't close it, right? And the NFL decides whether or not those things can be open. So, funny story. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
you're good. I never knew that story. I'm not old enough to remember that, so I just remember seeing NFL films. Dan Fouts, one of the greatest passers of his generation. Yeah, and then you got Kellen Winslow, and you got all those guys just going off. But another guy, man, I really wanted to see was Randall Cunningham, especially during his second run with Randy Moss and Chris Carter. When they lost that Giants game, man, I was like, "Are you serious?"
Well, they lost.
That was one of the best
Atlanta game.
No, this is no. They lost to the Giants. This is when they were in Minnesota. This is when Randall was in Minnesota. He had 2 stints, one with Philly, one with Minnesota. But man, was he lethal at Minnesota! Oh my gosh, that was one of the greatest offenses I've ever seen. Him and Randy Moss, Robert Smith, those guys were dealing. It's just unfortunate they could not get past the Giants during that run. And I think the Giants went to the Super Bowl and faced the Ravens that year. So I don't really think that they would have won. But I wish Randall Cunningham would have got in, though. But that is my 8, really. Well, what do you got?
I have Dan Marino at number 1. And I have some different stats that you didn't bring that I'm going to share. He played in 242 games. He was 147 and 93, 59 59% career completion percentage. He threw over 61,000 yards, 420 touchdowns, and never had a defense or a run game to back him up, ever. Tony Romo, he's my number 2. Played in 156 games, 78 and 49, 65 career completion percentage, 34,000 yards, 248 touchdowns. And again, he had a defense and a run game once in his career. So really just they didn't do him any favors in Dallas. Randall Cunningham is my 3rd. He was the first real mobile quarterback that was winning games in the NFL. That he could throw from the pocket and he could run outside the pocket. He was doing things that we'd never seen before. When Randall first got in the league, he played in 161 games, 82 and 52, 56% career completion percentage, over 29,000 yards. You talked about it. He played with the Eagles and the Vikings. He took the Vikings to an NFC title game, and they weren't able to win. Warren Moon is my number 4.
I swear we didn't share this list, guys.
We did not.
I swear.
Wow.
This is
crazy.
Very eerily. This is, yeah.
He played in 208 games, 58% completion percentage, 49,000 yards, 291 touchdowns, went to the playoffs 10 times, never made it past the divisional round with the whatever they were called, the Oilers. And then my number 5 is going to be Steve McNair. And it really hinges from that Titans game when I thought they should have beat the Rams, and they were just inches away from it. Steve McNair, in my opinion, he doesn't have the numbers and the gaudy stats that some of these other guys do, but he was a real football player. He's a real quarterback. He was excellent inside the pocket. He
Amazing,
was smart as a whip. He was a great leader. I wish that we could have seen Steve McNair win one for sure.
For sure, absolutely.
So, that's my. There's more, guys. There's more.
I could have made a 5D and put McNair in.
Right. But it's funny that we have so many of the same guys on this list. We just think that much alike. So let's move on to hot topics. Hot topics for the week. First and foremost, Aaron Rodgers says he will play on December 24th. He's been cleared to practice. However, he said on the Pat McAfee show, their record and him playing was not going to be mutually exclusive, meaning that if he was healthy, he wanted to play regardless. Now they're saying, I'm hearing out of the Jets, is that if they're not viable for the playoffs, they're not going to clear him to play. He'll be number 3 at best. What are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers?
Great for the Jets. Sit your ass down. Yeah. Period. Don't do this. Don't do this right now. Don't do this. You've got some good years ahead of you. You don't really get hit a ton. You used to get hit a lot when young in your career, but I think you found a way to deal the ball without taking a lot of shots. It's unfortunate that, he did pop his Achilles, but I just say, man, it's incredible what you've done. But right now, I don't think they should have got rid of Zach, because if you're going to put that out there, you might as well just put Zach in there, right?
Right. So
he's more talented than Boyle.
I don't think he should play either.
No, don't
play. Do you
play.
think some of this is his narcissism coming out? He's not getting the attention that he should have gotten this year because he's not playing. Do you think he wants attention, or do you think that he really wants to play football?
I think it's a little I'm not going to call him a narcissist, because I don't really know him like that, right? I don't think we know him, but
I just listen to him talk.
He has a little bit of a selfish trait, but I feel like for him, football made him who he was. Yeah. And when you get that taken away from you, that's one of the hardest things to accept.
It really is.
Especially if you're extremely good at it. And I think for him right now, it's about redemption more so than it is about look at me. I think it's more internal.
Okay.
Than external, for sure.
And we agree he shouldn't play.
No.
Okay.
No. God, no.
The NCAA playoff selection has been made. Michigan at number 1, Washington at number 2, Texas at number 3, Alabama at number 4, Florida State on the outside looking in. So before we talk about the quarterbacks in this playoff, your reaction to those 4?
I feel bad for Florida State. I do. Because, okay, we could talk about, they're on their third string quarterback, but last time I checked, there was a team that had a third string quarterback that won a national championship. and Cardale Jones in Ohio State.
Right. They've done it.
They're playing very good defensively. Louisville was averaging over 30 a game, and they held them to under 10 points, something like that, 16. It wasn't pretty, but they got it done. They shouldn't be penalized for their quarterback, because last time I checked, this is a team game, not a quarterback game. And it's hard. It's really hard to say that these other four aren't deserving, because they are. I mean, if we look at Michigan, they did their job despite a weak schedule, even though they beat Ohio State. They didn't play very well versus Iowa. I just felt like they just wanted to get out of there and win.
Yeah.
Right. It was like, hey, let's get out of here, because we know we're in the playoffs. Let's get the hell out of here.
Let's not go crazy about Iowa, though. They did have the fourth.
They did a good job. They're tough, man.
Country, so
Washington, I think they played a lot of close games. They did what they had to do, beating Oregon twice. Texas, to me, is the biggest question. But the only thing that saves them is they beat Alabama in week 2.
Right.
And they beat them in Alabama. That is the only reason they got in. Because for me, I feel like they didn't turn it on the way they should during the middle part of their season. They played very mediocre against opponents that they should have just completely dominated. And while the scoreboard may say they did, they just played down the team's levels during those stretches. In Big 12, they don't have really good defenses, though Texas is the most talented team in the Big 12. However, they did lose to an Oklahoma team who lost to KU. And that's I just don't think their schedule really helps, although they did beat Alabama in week 2. But you and I both know Alabama is not the same team that they were week 2, right? They won 11 straight. They beat the SEC team in Georgia. I mean, if it was me, honestly, I know this sounds crazy, but I would have Michigan, Washington. As much as I want to say Florida State, I could say Florida State. But I'd have Alabama and Georgia, because those two teams are wiping everybody out.
Now I understand what you're saying. I can't put the team that loses their conference championship.
I get it, but TCU lost their conference last year and got in. So explain that.
Whoa, TCU did.
Yes, they did. They lost to Kansas State.
Lost the championship game and got in the playoffs last year.
Correct.
Alabama did that a couple years ago too. So
and they won the title, right? So, but is TCU the pedigree of Alabama?
No,
it's money, man.
Listen, to me,
all
if
about
you're
money.
gonna remember they didn't used to have these games, these conference championship games.
Sure.
If you're going to have these now because of the BCS Bowl and all this kind of thing, those games are pretty much wild card games. You lose and you're done. I mean, I'm sorry.
Sure.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And so I understand why Georgia's out. I wish that we didn't live in a world where we had to have the SEC winner in the playoffs.
So in all regards, Alabama should be out. And then Florida State should be in, and then Texas.
Bro, they were
right.
8.
If we're keeping it the way it needs to be kept,
I agree.
There's no way you jump from 8 to 4.
There's no way.
But over an undefeated Florida State team, right?
At least they didn't make them 3. I really thought they were going to make Alabama.
I'm going to predict this and say Alabama's going to win the national championship.
No, they're going to lose the first game to Michigan.
No, they're not. They're about to blow the doors off of Michigan, bro. Stop the cap.
No, they're not.
I can't wait. You're going to be hurt, man. I'm going to call you and be like, you all right? You all right?
I already know what you're going to say, because I have a feeling what you're going to say, and I'm going to disagree with you vehemently. But rank your top 4 quarterbacks in this playoff.
Are we talking about the most dangerous?
No. I'm talking about who's the best quarterback in the playoffs.
The best quarterback right now in the playoffs is Michael Penix.
100% agree.
Okay. Number two, skill set wise and just what he's doing, is Quinn Ewers.
Ooh, you put okay.
Then
over
Jalen Milroe.
Oh, you're making JJ last.
JJ's last.
Okay, let me explain this.
JJ's last, bro.
Penix the best quarterback. JJ's number 2. Ewers is number 3, and Milroe is number 4.
JJ is not. No, hell no.
JJ's going to be an NFL quarterback. Milroe is
He will. I'm not saying that he won't, but the 3 guys that I mentioned and their skill set is
okay,
not better than JJ.
The only person more accurate than JJ in this list is Penix. The only
you guys play okay, and I will say your schedule. You played the most watered down schedule to get to the national title.
Okay, and if we beat
Because
Alabama,
of college football player.
When we beat Alabama, then what?
Well, hey, that's finally a good win. Finally,
Ohio
because
State was a good win. Ohio State was number 2 in the country when we beat them.
That was a good win, but I don't think their quarterback scares you. I think we all knew that.
No,
right? That's why he's in the transfer portal right now.
But
I don't think he scares
JJ
you.
Scares anybody, and everyone's been talking about JJ.
I think JJ is extremely efficient, but I don't think they put it in his hands to go win the game.
Okay,
they put it in these other 3 quarterbacks' hands to win the game. Yes or no?
You didn't say Milroe, and this is what I heard about Milroe today, and this is what gets me about this entire. And this is all Alabama usually, but
he's a pup.
This is what they said.
He's the youngest one in there.
Georgia said the problem with him is he's playing at a different speed than everybody else. He's a tremendous athlete.
Correct.
I don't want him to get drafted to the Dallas Cowboys or the Chicago Bears to play quarterback for them. Look at the way he holds the ball. Look at the way he throws the ball. Dude, he holds the ball in the middle of the ball. Have you ever seen it? He holds it like a loaf of bread in the middle of the football. He never puts 2 hands on it. He runs around with the ball way out here, and then he's a freak athlete. No question. He's not an NFL pocket passer. So, to me,
a lot of these college quarterbacks are not pocket passers. I respectfully disagree with you because I feel
he plays like Jalen Hurts to me.
He plays like a little bit of Michael Vick to me. He's electric. Jalen Milroe is electric, bro.
I'm not going to put him.
I'm not going to say, oh my God, he's a reincarnation of Michael Vick. There's only 1 and 2 guys that I can see that: Lamar Jackson, him, but this Milroe kid, he's a pup, man, and he's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. He's a sophomore.
He's not going to get better at Alabama because they don't have a quarterback coach to.
Well, if he continues to do what he's doing, I think he'll have a lot of success. And I think what you're going to find out when you guys play him, that damn, he's different.
Oh, no.
You've never played a quarterback like this before.
Right. He is, unfortunately, he's playing the quarterback position. He's a running back playing the quarterback position.
Oh my God.
He is.
I hate that narrative.
He's run first. He's run first. Everybody knows that. If you ask anybody about Jalen Milroe, what's really it's his explosiveness. They're not going to say it's the way he delivers the ball. He throws a really pretty deep ball. I'll give him that. I mean, he has a cannon for an arm.
I mean, he's thrown 26 touchdowns to 6 picks, bro.
Okay, he's throwing wide open guys. Jalen Hurts did that same shit. So
okay,
again,
okay.
I'm not.
Now let me ask you this. Okay,
I'm not impressed with him from a quarterback standpoint. I'm impressed with him from an athlete standpoint. He's a great college quarterback. There's a difference between great college quarterback and great NFL quarterback. Do you agree?
So I truly do agree, but I think what he's done in this 11-game run, dude, is extremely impressive. I mean, he's had an 80% gain twice.
No, they all do.
3 times. Excuse me.
Do this,
no, they don't all do. No, they don't all do it. The only person you've seen do it is Tua. Now, you go back to this game, right? I'm just saying, man, it's just the guy's getting discredited a lot, and he's a young guy. He's young. Give him time. I think what he's showing you, he's showing you resiliency, right? He's very resilient. He's got a good head on his shoulder. Since that time, man, he's running the tables. Yeah, he's been on fire. He's been tremendously on fire.
Listen,
you're not going to beat them.
He's not going to be able to run on us the way he's been running on everybody else.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't really run, dude. He's only had 3 100-yard games this year. You know that, right?
But
no, you didn't.
Everything he does comes off his running ability.
I understand that.
I watch the games. That's what I
understand that. But one thing I will stress, you guys got to get to him because he does take sacks. You got to get to him. If you get to him and get ahead and force him to really throw outside of 25 times, because the most passes he's had is 27. Outside of that, they keep him in this box, which is fine. But JJ McCarthy's also done the same way like that, man. His stats aren't impressive.
It's because we have Blake Corum. And we really don't have a great receiver core.
Okay, so how could you put him? He's only got 19 touchdowns to 4 picks, which is very efficient. Yeah, okay, Milroe has 5.
I put JJ behind Penix because, and I guess you could put What's his name?
Dude.
You could put Quinn Ewers ahead of JJ.
All right.
I just like how JJ. Listen. I've been.
You're a Michigan fan.
For 3 years. I'm a Michigan fan. I listen to what Jim Harbaugh said. JJ's the best quarterback he's had at Michigan. He said
at Michigan because he damn near shouldn't say he's the best he's ever had. We all know that's a damn lie.
He's a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick. I'm just to put
Andrew Luck.
Oh no, Andrew Luck's the best quarterback ever. I forgot.
Okay. Jim Harbaugh coached Andrew Luck in college.
Stanford. You're right.
So JJ has only thrown for 300 yards one game.
Yeah, they don't throw a lot, and he's come out.
Okay, exactly. So
he's also fed out of like 6 fourth quarters.
Look, he's extremely efficient. I think he is hidden in a way because if he was this guy that you're saying, he's getting more passes than 20.
It's just
he averages brother. The most attempts he's had all season was 37. Now, granted, he did go 64% completion, but he had 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, and threw for over 300 yards. Something's not right.
It's not that it's not right. They get inside the red zone, they hand the ball off to Blake Corum.
I mean, that's fine, but at the same time, you still should have at least one touchdown.
We don't have
when you throw 37 times.
Our best
so here you go. Now you're about to run into a team that can physically deal with you in a way that you haven't seen.
I know, man. I don't want to talk about it. I know. Listen, I know what's about to happen.
Roll Tide. They're winning the whole damn thing.
It's a bunch of
Count on it. Count on it.
Washington will beat them.
Hell no. Count on it.
Washington's going to beat Texas, and then Washington will beat Alabama.
Texas is going to beat Washington.
I hope so. I'm a Texas fan, but
it's going to be Texas versus Bama, and Bama's going to win.
Although
I do want to see my boy BJ Allen, man, get a natty. So I would root for Texas in that situation, even though I know Alabama's probably gonna win.
We don't need Alabama to win, nothing else. And if they do win again, if Alabama wins again, I need investigation.
They're gonna win, bro. They're gonna blow the doors off of y'all. You better keep him off the field.
If they beat Michigan, I'm calling for NCAA investigations into everything that's gone on in Alabama since Nick Saban has stepped in the building. Sure. I want investigation into everything if they beat Michigan that bad. The last time I saw Alabama play Michigan was here at AT&T Stadium. I paid $350 for the ticket. The game was over by the first quarter. So,
mobbed.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Ooh.
Let's talk about something that's going to be fun for me. Maybe not as much fun for you, although you're a little bit of a Dak fan since you're kind of a lookalike.
I've always liked Dak. It's because I'm light-skinned.
Has Dak entered the MVP convo? I'm going to say based on the quarterbacks that we've had in the convo and based on their numbers, I'm going to say Dak's in there.
Absolutely.
He's 100%.
He deserves it. He deserves it. My light-skinned brother's making it happen.
He really is.
Salute, my boy. Really Keep going. Now, can you beat a 500 team again?
Well, I was going to say you already did beat one. So
come on.
Let's beat
come
two.
On. Okay.
We're going to win.
Hey, I'm a big Cowboy fan this week, okay? Just like you were the Niners. Yeah. But I think Dak deserves it, man. Dak deserves to be in the MVP conversation. Currently, right now, in Vegas, he is second. And the number one guy right now is Purdy.
Again, I want to go on record.
We'll see.
Because I was very adamant about this early in the season. And I don't want people to think that it was because none of my guys were involved in the conversation. I don't believe in the MVP. It's a media award. We know it's voted on by the media writers. I feel like if we're not discussing the Deebo Samuels and the Micah Parsons and the, Myles Garrett. World, if we're not talking
Tyreek Hill,
those guys,
CMC,
Tyreek Hill, if we're only talking about quarterbacks, I no longer care about the MVP. But it's cool. I mean, it's cool to have that conversation. It's cool for the organization. It's cool for the player because you typically get a higher contract and you get all sorts of accolades and you get all sorts of publications and endorsements from being the MVP, and you'll be known as forever as an NFL MVP player, right? So that's pretty cool. But I think it's gone down in value to me, the award itself. That's just my opinion. Okay. Last question for Hot Topics. We kind of touched on this already. I think we both agree that he is. Is Jordan Love for real? He's got 2,800 yards, 22 touchdowns to 10 picks, 6-6 currently. It didn't start out great, but he's caught fire the last 5 weeks. They just beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Is Jordan Love for real, and are the Packers back, even though they never really left?
I think he is. And one thing I've noticed is it's all about being efficient. I think when he first started out, remember I was telling guys this, I was like, man, he's only a 50% completion guy, right? You need to be in the upper 65 at least. And in the past 5 games, that stretch outside of Pittsburgh, the kid's done it, 76%, 67, 68, 69. He's completing at a high level. He's dealing, and he's got a good skill set. He's got the same skill set as Aaron Rodgers. Only we all know Aaron Rodgers is a more talented thrower, but who's to say he can't be that? Because when Aaron Rodgers first came out, he had to change his entire mechanics.
Yeah.
I mean, he was holding the ball up here.
Yep.
Throwing like Al Bundy, right? But he still had a quick whip, and Jordan Love has a quick whip, and he's only going to get better from here. I think they're doing a great job. They've gotten some huge wins versus 500 teams in the past stretch. And, I think going into the back end of this, if they really want a shot, they got to consistently, do what he's doing best. And that's just getting the ball in his young playmakers' hands and letting them run and converting on third downs and just being efficient. Stay the course, man. That is the theme of today. Stay the course. Dak, Purdy, Love. All you guys, stay the course. If you do that, you will have success.
I think he's for real. I don't know. The Packers just seem to just have all
struck gold again.
They strike gold every single time they draft a quarterback. It's disgusting. They had that little run in the 80s where they absolutely sucked, which was great, except I was a child, so I barely remember it. But let's talk about this week, because we've got a lot of good games coming up. We've got a lot of playoff implications now that we're in December, right? What games are you looking forward to? I have a litany of games I'm looking forward to. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
I think the number one matchup here, with all stakes on the table here, all chips in, it's Allen versus Mahomes. Because if Josh Allen doesn't win this game, it's over. This is a must win.
Do you think he can? Do you think the Bills have what it takes to beat the Chiefs?
Yes. Versus this Chiefs team? Yes. The Chiefs are very beatable this year. They have showed they have a lot of weaknesses outside of their defense, but their defense got exposed by a one-year starter. So I feel confident in a guy like Josh Allen, who has seen it, can go out there and get a W. Also got Stafford versus Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, that's a huge game.
I think this is a huge game for not only Lamar Jackson, coming off of a bye, but this is a huge game for Matt Stafford, as you're just coming off 2 back-to-back games where you look like the old Matt Stafford. This looks like the guy who gets hot at the end, right? Can you still maintain it? Now you're about to face one of the number one defenses who leads in sacks this year. Can you overcome some of your hurdles right now? You got a running back that's running really well. Can you catch Baltimore off their feet? Defensively, I don't think they can do it. Offensively, expect something to happen potentially.
They're going to have to score points.
And then I got Dak versus Hurts. This is the biggest game of Dak's career to this point. This is the biggest game of his career, because I say this.
Playoffs against Aaron Rodgers.
No. Listen. I say this because up until this point, what has the narrative been with Dak Prescott? He cannot beat good teams. He can't beat good teams, right? Now you're in a position where you're playing at a very high level, a very elite level. You're second in an MVP, right? Your team is hot. You guys are top 3 in the NFC. Now you go against your division rival, which you've already lost, and now unable to get a number 1 seed even to play into that. You have got to beat them. You have to. And if you don't, it's going to be the narrative again. They can't beat a team over 500. So this is the most important game of your career to this point.
I'm going to settle that
my
down
opinion
a little bit.
I'm just saying, man, you have to look at it that way.
Listen, I get it. It's a huge game. I don't want my quarterback, Dak Prescott, to come into this game thinking the way you were thinking right now. I want him.
I think he already thinks. I think he knows it.
I want him calm. Here's why.
You can still be that.
As a Cowboys fan, obviously I'm going to the game. I'm looking forward to the game. If we win the game, I'll be ecstatic. If we lose the game, that's okay. Because while winning the game, let let me explain. While winning the game allows us to put ourselves in the driver's seat to maybe get that number 1 seed if the 49ers were to falter down the line, that's great. But really and truly, our playoff positioning is probably not going to change. By losing to the Eagles again in Dallas, if that's what happens, that gives us an exponentially better chance to beat Philly when we have to go there to play them in the playoffs, and I'll explain why. In the history of the NFL, and look it up, I don't know if you can find a team that has beaten another team 3 times, meaning a divisional opponent beat them twice in the regular season, beat them in the playoffs.
We did.
Okay.
We beat Seattle last year. We swept them 3-0. Yeah, we had them in the first round and swept them. Okay. We beat them at home, beat them away.
But sorry. I've said this year after year after year, and so many times it comes true. It is hard to beat a team 3 times. The Giants, we devastated the Giants twice in 2007. The Giants came in here and beat us in the first playoff game. Couldn't beat them 3 times. I've seen that happen time and time and time again. And so, I feel like, yes, I want to win the game. If we don't win the game, do I feel like my season's over as a Cowboy fan? No, because I feel like we still got to do what we got to do. And guess what? You got to play us a 3rd time. Good luck. Good luck beating us a 3rd time. So I want to win the game, though. I'm also looking at Bengals-Colts now. That's a huge game because at 6-6,
the battle of the backups.
The Bengals are trying to get into the playoffs with Browning, who's shown last night that he can get the job done. Meanwhile, Gardner Minshew has been on fire, as we talked about earlier. So to me, that's a huge game. And then kind of want to see this Jaguar-Browns game. I kind of want to see what are the Jaguars going to be without Trevor Lawrence, and do you have an opportunity? I'll tell you another game that's important. Probably don't want to watch the game, but Falcons-Tampa is a huge game for the NFC. At 6-6, Atlanta is first place in the division. But a huge game if you're a fan of one of those teams, because the Buccaneers are.
We're talking about quarterback matchups. We ain't talking about team matchups. Damn it, Baker versus Desmond Ritter. Stop.
I like Baker. What else is good out here?
But versus Desmond Ritter, that's not a worthy opponent.
Here's another good game. Justin Fields, right? Who has done some stuff since he's been back.
Coming off a bye.
Off in the Lions, off a bye week in Chicago.
And you beat them. You beat them.
And you play spoiler. That's what the Bears need to do.
Upset alert. Defense has been playing good, too.
That's really about it for quarterback matchups. But, yeah, obviously the biggest one of the day is probably that Cowboys-Eagle game.
Sure.
Everyone's going to be watching that Sunday night. It's going to be huge. Can't wait for that game. I hope we're not.
Is it the Sunday night game, Eagles versus?
It is.
Oh, you're not going to get out of it. Well, yeah, you got the special VIP parking. You'll be out of there in no time.
Yeah, but it's still going to be a late night.
I remember when I went to a home opener last year versus Dallas and Philly. Man, we didn't get out of there until like 2 o'clock. I could never do it again. Yeah, I didn't have the special VIP parking pass.
First of all, you don't listen. Everybody that watches our show right now, you don't need special VIP parking, and I don't have it. It's a friend.
Yeah, you do.
It's a friend of mine has it. I go with him.
Dude, the best seats in the house.
Yeah, they're great. They're not my seats. I paid for these seats, but you can easily. This is what I suggest: if you're going to go to the Cowboys game, get yourself on Ticketmaster. Get a parking pass for the Blue Lot 10. You get the parking pass for Blue Lot 10. You'll probably spend about $100. You will be out of that stadium and home within an hour of the game ending. I promise. I promise. So just do that. Blue Lot 10. That's where you buy your parking pass, ladies and gentlemen. You'll get in and out of the stadium. No problem. So that's it for us for this week, except for one last piece. And Brandon, this is all your fantasy segment. How did you do last week? Who are you looking for this week, and who should we stay away from?
We did extremely well. I had Brock versus the Eagles. I just gambled with it. Man, put up 49 points, which is great. I put up Geno versus Cowboys. He did phenomenal as well. I had Matt Stafford again. He did very good versus the Browns with a depleted team with Myles Garrett out. There was a lot of good picks. Currently right now in fantasy, I guess I'm having a really good year. Even from a team perspective. Right now, I'm number 1 in 2 leagues, number 2 in another. And so we'll see what happens. I just got to get to the playoffs, guys. So I need you to pray for me on this. Let's get this money. But top QBs to start this week. Lamar versus the Rams coming off of a bye. Mahomes versus the Bills. Allen versus the Chiefs. I think that's going to be a shootout. Dak versus the Eagles. Hurts versus the Cowboys. I think those are going to be good fantasy points there.
Don't play Hurts.
Absolutely play Hurts. You know, Hurts put up 37 points against the Cowboys last time, so I think I'm going to take that again.
I'm not going to argue.
Tua versus the Titans. Love versus the Giants. Goff versus the Bears. Stay away from Herbert versus the Broncos. Herbert didn't do it diddly poo, and he should have been in the garbage juice because you only put up 6 points and you threw for 200 yards, but you had 40 attempts. Trash. I'm contemplating on starting you. I think I'm not.
Well, you're getting really aggressive.
Yeah, that made me mad, man. He almost lost because of him. He gave me 6 points.
I couldn't believe how bad the Chargers were.
He gave me 6 points. And here I got a guy, Kyler, on the bench who gave me 24. I'm like, come on, man. So I got Carr versus the Panthers. He played horrible that time. Didn't even score over 16 points. Lawrence versus the Browns. Well, he's out now, so you still should sit, CJ Beathard, if you even have a thought of even playing him. And sit Baker versus the Falcons. Baker struggled versus the Falcons. I don't see that coming at a very easy win. They may win it, but I don't think he's going to perform at the level you think. So those are mine to stay away from and the ones to start. Stay tuned and stay locked in because we're on our way to a potential championship.
So guys, listen to what Brandon is telling you. He's giving you some nuggets here, and this is what he does. He studies this stuff. Trust me, I get the screenshots all the time. So that's gonna do it for this week's edition of the QB Huddle podcast. Please subscribe, share, and comment. Keep an eye out for the Couch Coach podcast, which will be out later this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to our incredible producer, Mark Watson.
Appreciate you, Mark.
For my podcast partner, Brandon Noohi, Mr. San Francisco, I'm Tim Smith.
Let's get it.
Dallas. We'll see you next week on the QB.
Peace.